Hey friend, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show, making it the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel is where I put all of my episodes from all of my shows, as well as tons of extra content like this video right here. What you got going on, Sulfa? Sulfa sees a squirrel out the window. Yes, you do. Oh my. Time to look out the window. If you hear any loud bangs, it's because Salsa sees a squirrel out the window and she needs to go from window to window, checking to see if she can get the squirrel through the window that she's in front of. So yeah, that's what's happening here. So today we are going to talk about Elizabeth Woodville and her life after the death of her husband, Edward IV, and after the rise of Henry Tudor, because she played such a pivotal role early on during the Wars of the Roses. And then she kind of just drops off. And so what was she doing? So we're going to talk about what she was doing after Henry Tudor becomes the king and her daughter becomes the queen. So let's dig into that. But first, if you want to see more Tudor history in your YouTube feed, like everybody does, right? Why not go ahead and hit subscribe so you never miss a video that I put out? All right, let's get into it. Elizabeth Woodville's life after the death of her husband, Edward IV, was a very quiet chapter compared to the drama of her years as queen. Like many dowager queens before her, her later years show that she was still at court a little bit. She had some shifting fortunes, and she slowly retreated into private life. When Edward died in 1483, Elizabeth's life took a sharp turn. As the mother of Edward V, she became the focal point of a dangerous political struggle. The events that followed, the disappearance of her two sons, the princes in the Tower, and Richard III's rise to power, are among the most infamous episodes of the Wars of the Roses. But even in these turbulent times, Elizabeth showed a knack for survival. She negotiated an uneasy peace with Richard in 1484, ensuring her daughter's safety by agreeing to let them join his court. It wasn't the easiest choice, but it was one that likely kept her family intact. When Henry Tudor defeated Richard at Bosworth in 1485 and married Elizabeth's oldest daughter, Elizabeth of York, the Dowager Queen's fortunes improved. Her dower lands were restored to her, and she enjoyed a very prominent place at court for a while. She attended royal events. She joined her daughter during her confinement when Prince Arthur was born, and she was even named his godmother. For a while, it seemed like she might settle comfortably into her role as a respected matriarch of the new Tudor dynasty. But in early 1487, things shifted again. Elizabeth lost her dower lands, which was probably an expected move, as it wasn't really financially feasible for Henry VII to support both his queen and his mother-in-law with royal estates. Instead, Elizabeth was granted a pension and moved to Bermondsey Abbey, a Benedictine community in London. You know, it's really funny. When I think about Bermondsey, I think about the Jubilee line of the Underground. When I was living there, I remember the voices. The next station is whatever. The Jubilee line's voices. I don't know if it's changed. It's been a while since I've ridden the Jubilee line, but when I was living there, she was so happy. And I'll never forget, I had a friend who lived in Bermondsey, and I'll never forget, it was, the next station is Bermondsey. And it was like she was just thrilled to be announcing that you were going to be in Bermondsey. If you live in London and you ride the Jubilee line, can you let me know in the comments if the Jubilee line lady is still so happy about the upcoming stops? I got to find a recording of that. Maybe there's one on YouTube.
The next station is Bermondsey. This station is Bermondsey.
Anyway, yeah, that's the thing that I know about Bermondsey is I had a friend who lived there, and the Jubilee line lady was super, super excited to be announcing Bermondsey all the time. Next station is Bermondsey. It really kind of did my head in. The level of enthusiasm that she had was something. Anyway, okay, so Bermondsey Abbey, Benedictine community in London. We got a little sidetracked there, but we're pulling it back. The Abbey was not a punitive exile. It was a dignified retreat. It offered state apartments that had previously housed high-ranking officials like Richard III when he was Duke of Gloucester. Elizabeth was well taken care of, and she remained a presence in the Tudor court. She attended the christening of her granddaughter, Margaret Tudor, in 1489, and she continued to receive gifts and financial support from Henry VII. Historians have debated why Elizabeth retired to Bermondsey. Some, like the chronicler Virgil, suggested that she was being punished for having made peace with Richard back in 1484. Others argued that she was implicated in Lambert Simnel's rebellion in 1487, though there is very little to support this theory. More than likely, Elizabeth just chose a quieter life. You get to a point where sometimes you just want quiet, right? She had been through so much. She had been through 2 marriages. Maybe she just wanted a break, right? She had leased a residence that was within the grounds of Westminster Abbey in 1486, which did signal that she intended to step back from court life. Bermondsey provided a respectable, very serene setting for her final years, far from the intrigue of the royal court. She was probably just getting sick of it. She spent the remaining years of her life at Bermondsey Abbey, supported by a modest pension. Henry occasionally sent her financial gifts. She was still welcomed at court for significant occasions. So this shows that her retreat wasn't an enforced exile, but a decision that aligned with her changing role as a dowager queen. Now, interestingly and randomly, Elizabeth was even considered as a potential bride for James III of Scotland in 1487. This match never materialized. James was killed in battle the following year, but it does show that she had continuing political value. The very idea of such a proposal undermines the theory that she had fallen out of favor with Henry. If she had truly been implicated in the Lambert-Simnel rebellion or otherwise distrusted in any other way, it's hard to imagine Henry entertaining such a politically significant marriage. By 1492, her health and her fortunes were waning. She made her will that April, and her will showed that she was very concerned with her spiritual life and humility. Unlike the elaborate, detailed wills of her contemporaries like Margaret Beaufort, Elizabeth's was simple and brief. She had little of material value to leave behind, referring only to small stuff and goods. What she did have, she entrusted to her executors and commended herself to her daughter, Queen Elizabeth of York, for care. And she left blessings to her children in her will, which again shows that she was considering herself a mother first, a matriarch first, and really trying to embrace that role, even with her reduced circumstances. She died on June 8th, 1492. She was about 55 years old. Her funeral was a very modest affair, which is what she wished for. She was buried next to her husband, Edward IV, in St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. There was no pomp, no grand procession, just a quiet goodbye to a queen whose life had seen extraordinary highs and devastating lows. In many ways, Elizabeth's final years reflect the precarious nature of life for royal women in medieval England. Her story has often been clouded by propaganda, much of it originating from her unusual, unforeseen marriage to Edward. But recent historians have tried to work to restore her reputation, get rid of the propaganda, and show that she was actually just a really pragmatic woman who was just trying to get by in the best way she knew how. Whether at court or in quiet retirement, Elizabeth remained a pivotal figure in the story of the Tudor dynasty. Her life at Bermondsey, far from the drama of her earlier years, offers a fascinating glimpse into the realities of royal retirement. It's a chapter often overshadowed by her earlier triumphs and tragedy, but also one that deserves attention for its quiet grace. So also randomly, Henry VIII was born in 1491. She died in 1492, and she did seem to be in good health until the last couple of months. So she probably would have gone to the nursery and seen her grandson be born. It's an interesting picture, imagining Elizabeth Woodville holding Henry VIII as a little baby. So yeah, there you have it, a little bit about Elizabeth Woodville and her life in retirement. What do you think about Elizabeth Woodville's story? Let me know in the comments. And what do you think about the very jubilant Jubilee line? I would love to know. All right. I am signing off for myself and Miss Salsa. Do you want to say hi, Salsa? You want to say hi to the people? Let me change the camera around. There's Miss Salsa. Hey, can you stick your little head up here? Say hi. No, she's just looking out at the squirrel outside. Here, can you face this way? There you go. Say hi. Go. That's my little Salsa. We've had her for about a month now. She's lovely. Anyway, she keeps me company when we make these videos. All right, friend, if you made it to the end of this video and you enjoyed it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps to feed the algorithm and get our content to even more people and dogs. And I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out content like this all the time. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to keep binging Tudor content, here is a video with historian Nathan Amin talking about what he thinks of the new evidence about the princes in the tower. That's quite interesting. And here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. You are deeply loved. I'm so glad I shared the planet with you. I'll be back soon, and don't forget to drink your water. Bye-bye.